I've got some chilling stories of real werewolf encounters that will make you think twice before stepping outside at night. Deep in the heart of a forgotten land, nestled amongst ancient trees and shrouded in mist, lay the village of Eldenwood, a place where time seemed to stand still, where the whispers of the wind carried secrets as old as the earth itself. The villagers' weathered faces, etched with the stories of generations past, spoke in hushed tones of a creature that haunted their woods, a creature of legend, spoken of in whispers and shadowed in fear. The legend of the Eldenwood werewolf, a tale passed down through generations, was more than a scary story told to keep children close to home. It was a chilling reality that cast a long shadow over the hearts of the villagers, a tale of a beast that stalked the woods under the silver glow of the moon, its eyes burning with a primal hunger. Its howls, a symphony of terror that echoed through the valley, sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened woodsmen. Few dared to venture into the forest after dark, for the legend of the werewolf was not just a story, it was a warning. A warning that echoed through the rustling leaves and the creaking branches. A warning carried on the wind that spoke of a darkness that lurked beneath the trees, waiting to claim its next victim. And so, the village of Eldenwood lived in the shadow of the beast, its presence a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the power of ancient curses. A stranger arrived in Eldenwood one crisp autumn evening, her arrival as unexpected as a sudden storm.
I'm drawn to this village by the whispers of the werewolf legend. I'm determined to uncover the truth behind the myth.
Her eyes, sharp and inquisitive, scanned the faces of the villagers, searching for clues to the mystery that had brought her to this remote corner of the world. The villagers, wary of outsiders and protective of their secrets, welcomed Dr. Gray with a cautious curiosity. They watched her every move, their eyes filled with a mixture of suspicion and hope. Hope that this learned woman, with her books and her instruments, could somehow free them from the shadow of fear that had haunted them for so long. Dr. Gray, sensing their apprehension, approached the villagers with respect and a genuine desire to understand their story. She listened intently as they shared their tales of the werewolf, their voices filled with a mixture of fear and awe. She studied the ancient symbols carved into the doorways of their homes, symbols meant to ward off evil, symbols that spoke of a time when magic and myth were intertwined with the fabric of everyday life. The elders of Eldenwood, keepers of the village's history and lore, shared with Dr. Gray the legend of the werewolf.
Tell me more about this ancient curse woven into the fabric of your existence.
It's a tale of a man driven by greed and consumed by darkness, who made a pact with forces beyond human comprehension. He sought power and immortality, willing to sacrifice his humanity for the strength of the beast. He performed rituals under the blood moon, chanting incantations that summoned a darkness from the depths of the earth.
And so the curse was born, transforming him into a creature of the night, forever trapped between the world of man and beast. Generations passed and the legend of the werewolf grew, becoming more than just a story. It became a living nightmare, a constant threat that lurked in the shadows, preying on the fears of the villagers. The elders spoke of the werewolf's victims, their bodies mangled and left as a gruesome warning to those who dared to defy the beast's domain. Driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and a desire to confront the darkness that haunted Eldenwood, Dr. Gray decided to venture into the forest. Armed with her wits, a silver-plated compass, and a flickering lantern, she stepped into the shadowy depths of the woods, determined to find the lair of the beast.
This forest, alive with the sounds of the night, welcomes me with a chorus of rustling leaves and creaking branches.
The trees, ancient and gnarled, seemed to reach out like skeletal fingers, their shadows dancing in the flickering light of her lantern. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, a primordial aroma that spoke of the cycle of life and death. As Dr. Gray ventured deeper into the forest, the darkness seemed to press in on her, suffocating her with its palpable presence. The whispers of the wind seemed to carry the voices of the werewolf's victims, their cries echoing through the trees. The shadows, elongated and distorted in the lantern light, danced and writhed like living creatures, their movements mimicking the stalking predator that haunted her thoughts. Dr. Gray, her heart pounding against her ribs, quickened her pace, her lantern casting flickering shadows that danced and writhed like demons in the darkness. The path, barely visible beneath the carpet of fallen leaves, led her deeper into the heart of the werewolf's domain, a place where the laws of nature seemed to bend and twist, where the line between reality and nightmare blurred. The air, thick with the scent of musk and decay, hinted at the presence of something wild, something untamed. The deeper she ventured into the forest, the more intense the feeling of being watched became. It was as if the trees themselves were observing her every move, their silent scrutiny amplifying her unease. The werewolf, no longer a mythical creature, became a tangible threat, its presence felt in every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig. Fear, a primal instinct as old as time, began to gnaw at the edges of Dr. Gray's composure. The stories she had heard from the villagers, the chilling legends that had once seemed like folklore, now resonated with a terrifying reality. The wind, picking up in intensity, carried with it a symphony of unsettling sounds. The rustling of leaves morphed into whispers, the creaking of branches into growls, the distant hooting of an owl into the chilling howl of a wolf.
The forest, once a place of tranquility, had transformed into a menacing labyrinth, its every corner concealing a potential threat.
The whispers in the wind seemed to mock her, taunting her with the legend of the Eldenwood werewolf. They spoke of the beast's cunning, its strength, its insatiable hunger for flesh and blood.
They warned me to turn back, to abandon my quest and seek refuge in the safety of the village, before it was too late.
Dr. Gray, her resolve wavering but her determination undeterred, pressed on, her footsteps echoing in the stillness of the night. The forest, once a place of mystery and wonder, had become a battleground, a testing ground for her courage and her sanity. She was no longer just an anthropologist seeking answers, she was a warrior facing a primal force, a darkness that threatened to consume her. The hunt began with a rustle in the undergrowth, a fleeting glimpse of movement that sent a jolt of adrenaline through Dr. Gray's veins.
Her senses heightened, she scanned the darkness, her lantern casting an unsteady beam that illuminated the tangled undergrowth. The air, heavy with the scent of musk and decay, hinted at the presence of something close, something watching her every move.
The rustle grew louder, closer, transforming into the sound of heavy paws padding softly on the forest floor. The shadow of a large creature silhouetted against the moonlit sky emerged from the trees, its eyes glinting with a predatory hunger. The werewolf, no longer a figment of legend, had become a terrifying reality, its presence as tangible as the fear that gripped Dr. Gray's heart. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as the werewolf emerged from the shadows, its massive frame dwarfing Dr. Gray's slender figure. Its fur, matted and stained with the blood of its victims, glistened in the moonlight, its fangs bared in a silent snarl that sent shivers down her spine. The hunt had begun, and Dr. Gray found herself facing a primal force, a creature born of darkness and fueled by an insatiable hunger. The werewolf, its eyes burning with a primal rage, lunged at Dr. Gray, its claws outstretched like daggers.
The shock of the attack sent her reeling backward, her lantern tumbling to the ground with a clatter, plunging the forest into darkness. The beast's hot, fetid breath washed over her, its stench a mixture of blood and decay. Her fingers closed around the silver-plated compass, its cool touch a reminder of the stories she had heard, the legends that spoke of silver's power against the forces of darkness. Fear, raw and primal, surged through Dr. Gray's veins, but she fought against the urge to flee. Her mind racing searched for a weapon, a defense against the monstrous creature that towered over her.
With a desperate cry, Dr. Gray thrust the compass towards the werewolf, hoping to ward off its attack. The beast, momentarily startled by the glint of silver in the darkness, recoiled, its eyes narrowed in suspicion. The moment of respite, brief as it was, gave Dr. Gray the opportunity she needed. Scrambling back, she retrieved her fallen lantern, its flickering flame casting a dim glow that illuminated the clearing. The werewolf, its eyes fixed on Dr. Gray, circled cautiously, its growls echoing through the trees.
The creature, caught between its primal instincts and the repelling force of the silver compass, seemed to be locked in a battle within itself, its human side struggling against the beastly curse that held it captive.
Dr. Gray, her heart pounding against her ribs, realized that the werewolf was more than just a monster. It was a victim, a soul trapped in a cycle of violence and despair.
The curse, passed down through generations, had corrupted its humanity, twisting it into a creature of the night, forever bound to the shadows and driven by a hunger it could never satiate.
As Dr. Gray watched the werewolf, she noticed a glint of silver around its neck, a pendant hidden beneath its matted fur. The pendant, a family heirloom passed down through generations, was the key to the curse, the symbol of the pact that had bound the werewolf's ancestors to the forces of darkness. Dr. Gray, understanding the source of the curse, knew that the only way to free the werewolf from its torment was to break the pact.
With a steady hand and a heavy heart, she approached the creature, the silver compass held before her like a shield.
The werewolf, sensing her intentions, did not attack, moved the silver pendant from the werewolf's neck, breaking the link that had bound it to the curse.
A wave of energy surged through the clearing, the air crackling with the release of ancient magic.
The werewolf, its body convulsing, transformed, its beastly features receding, replaced by the human form that had been imprisoned for so long. As the light of dawn filtered through the trees, Dr. Gray watched as the man, weak and disoriented, stumbled to his feet. The curse was broken, the werewolf was no more, and the village of Eldenwood was finally free from the shadow of fear that had haunted it for generations. Dr. Gray, her mission accomplished, bid farewell to the village and its people, her heart filled with both sorrow for the suffering she had witnessed and hope for the future that awaited them.